Jehovah's Witnesses is the two words I usually say at the start of a video. But one of the things that is said to try and prove that they're right, to you, me, as an apostate, or to people at the door is, can't you see the things going on in the news? The world can't go on this way. This is a problem at a number of levels. You can dispute whether or not now is the worst time that has ever existed in history. There's a very good argument that it's not. Life expectancy is highest. Look at your cell phone. It's a magic supercomputer. The poverty is lower than it's ever been. Disease is being eradicated. We live healthier and longer than ever before. Average life expectancy, again, really high. Infant mortality, low. People dying in childbirth, lowest it's, in general, lowest it's ever been. Invention, science, learning, all of these things are better than ever. So we can argue whether or not things are the worst that they've ever been. Let's even accept that that's true. We'll take it as a given that yes, now is the worst time in history. Hard to argue, but we'll accept that as a given. That doesn't mean the witnesses are right. It doesn't then follow, and therefore the witnesses are right. It doesn't follow that therefore the Bible is right, that God exists. There's no logical jumping off point from this is the worst point in history. It doesn't prove that the witnesses are right. It doesn't prove anything. It is unconnected from theology. We live in a really terrible time. And so what? I don't know. The other problem with using this idea of, look at the news, look how scary and terrible it is. It must be the end. Guess what? That's been used a lot, a lot. That was true in 1600s Germany with the Anabaptists. That was true during the Black Plague. That was true for the witnesses in 1914 and 1925 and 1931 and 1975. They have said this many, many times. It can't get worse. It's so bad. It can't last another 5 or 10 years. It's been 114 years since they got 140 years since they got rolling. We're still here. But now is the worst. Okay, it doesn't prove anything. Again, claimed many, many times. And just the general category of look at the news. This is the only logical explanation of the things we are seeing in the news is we are right, is what the Heaven's Gate cult said. There's no interpretation of world events and the comet in space other than we are right, and that we need to kill ourselves to be beamed up into the spaceship hiding in the tail of the comet. The news proves that we need to do that. Jonestown. Government investigators coming around proves that we're under attack and the end is near. Waco, Texas. The FBI surrounding us. The only way to interpret that is that the end is near. All of these groups do that exact same thing. There's a book called When Prophecy Fails about a UFO cult. Again, looking at the news, the only way to interpret that is that we are right. And UFOs are going to come and beam us up, and then the world is going to be wiped out in a flood. That's what they thought, this tiny UFO cult. Weirdos. But they said that, look at the news, it's proof. We are correct. Saying, look at the news, we are correct, is a problem. Because, one, is there no other way to interpret the news, looking at it? It's obvious that there's no other proof than the Jehovah's Witness religion is correct. Is that even the best explanation? Are there other explanations? Because if there are other explanations, then you might be wrong. If there's literally any other explanation, then you are potentially wrong. And if there's any other possible explanation, it's not fulfilling Bible prophecy, now is it? Because it's probably that other thing. If there's literally no other interpretation, then it's now convincing evidence of your case. But Occam's razor says it's probably just life, how things go, the current stage in history. It's not proof. If you look at the news, it doesn't prove that the witnesses are right. The idea of look at the news, it proves us right, proves that we're correct, is the same way research is done, the same way facts work. You're looking for something that proves what you already believe. If you believe now is the worst time in history, and you go looking for that, you'll find it. If you go looking for things that disprove it, you'll find a lot of those too. Look at the aggregate. Balance everything out. Look at what experts say. But if you go looking for proof of your currently held belief, the world is the worst it's ever been, it can't go on, things that prove the witnesses are right, you'll find them. You'll absolutely find them. And so did the people in those other cults, those other groups. If you want to go looking for a sign of many different conspiracy theories, of many different religions, the Scientologists will look at the world and say, it proves that we are correct. World events, current things prove that we are correct. Any sort of religion that has eschatology, the end of the world ideas, or the nearness of the end of the world, will point out the exact same things and say, this is proof that we are right. You can't all point at the same thing and say, that's evidence that our interpretation of events is correct, that contradicts all the other things. We can't exist at the same time, and yet it's proof of our rightness, all of our contradictory theories. If you want to think that the world is bad and terrible and depressing, you can convince yourself that is true. If you want to think that the world is happy-go-lucky gumdrop land, you can do that too. A little bit harder. There's more sad things than there are, I don't know what this was, utopian fancy ideas. Beware, I guess. The moral of this is beware of confirmation bias, and beware of cherry picking, and be aware of how you do research, how you search out information. If you go looking for it, you're going to find it, probably. You got to research things differently than that. It's another thing to help when waking up and leaving and helping dispel those lingering fears and doubts. Something scary happened in the news. Okay, it's just a thing. It's just a thing that happened. An earthquake somewhere doesn't prove that UFOs have arrived and that the world is about to flood. It's not proof. It's also not proof that the witnesses are right, or that any other weird group is correct. It's just an earthquake. It's not a big deal. So don't be afraid, and don't buy that line. Look at the news. That's silly. It's silly nonsense. I've been saying it for over 100 years. I've been wrong for over 100 years because we're still here. Okay. Well, that's all. Moi. Appreciate you. Thank you. Like, share, subscribe. If you want to support what I do, that helps a lot. If you want to buy any books, that helps too. Don't have to, but if you want to, there's referral links that I'll get a little bit, a few pennies. Suggest me to your friends. Hit the bell. That's also nice. That helps a lot. So, appreciate you. Thank you very much for watching to the end. Once again, you were great. You are the apple of my eye. I always hated those verses in the Bible about things touching God's eye. It really, it skeeved me out. How creepy. So gross. Gross. Ugh. But you're the apple of my eye. See the monitor in there. Thank you, my most cherished possession. I'll see you next time.